G'day guys, welcome to PBHQ Live. This is episode 357. I'm Dwayne Nichols. I'm going to get rid of that pillow from back there. Thanks for joining in. If you are joining in, let me know who you are and where you are. If you were playing in the Super Sevens M's over the weekend, well, you can tell me all about that. If you are playing in the Super Sevens Semi-Pro this coming weekend, well, you can tell me about that. There's also a little three-man happening over in New Zealand that you can chime in about. Chris Dickens, who I was just chatting with literally moments ago, is in. River, Brad Shaw also joining in. So yeah, make sure you drop a comment and just chime in throughout the chat throughout the rest of the night if you're hanging about. If you are, or whilst you're watching, you can keep an eye over here for upcoming events, of which there's not a great deal at the moment. This time of year, with the weather typically being so good in most of the country, I would have thought that the events would have all been sort of happening around this time, but it's a little bit skinny for events up until September. It starts to sort of get going again towards the end of September and through October. But if there's anything that I don't have in there that you notice, well, let me know and I'll add it in. But let's get on with mentions for the major sponsors of the show, that being paintballshop.com and Gladiator. Paintballshop.com, they've got this clinic with Jim McGowan from the Lucky 15s coming out from the UK. So earlier this year, another player from the Lucky 15s came out in this bit of a partnership with Sydney SWAT that they've got going. So they came out and played the earlier round, but with the pro round being cancelled this time around, Jim is instead running a clinic. And as someone who has played on the Great British National Team, played pro with the Lucky 15s for a long time, including coaching the Great Britain team, seems like a man with a resume that is stacked and that will definitely be able to help the new crop of paintballers coming through in Sydney and surrounds. So if you want to register for this one, you have to do it online. Go through with paintballshop.com. You can go either via their website or their social media to find links to it. $150 for the day, including a box of paint. Seems like a pretty solid deal. And Mike said that they've got pretty good numbers already registered for that one. So, and they said that spots are limited. I don't know what the limit is. I don't know how many are left, but if you want to get in, like all paintball things, get in nice and early and make the paintball event organizers' lives just a little bit easier. Russell from New Zealand is in at the moment, as is Eden down in Victoria. Got a nice spread of people across the country, all countries at the moment. So thank you for joining in. And Gladiator, they wanted to just do a quick shout out. Wicked Assassins, who are only coming off getting a win a couple of weeks ago in the MJ Memorial Cup, will be competing this week in the Super Sevens Semi-Pro. They have two teams in the Wicked Assassins family competing this weekend, and they sort of all fall under the Gladiator banner, so best of luck to those guys this weekend in what is looking like a pretty stacked semi-pro division, and we'll be talking about that in just a little bit. Tom Thorne is joining in. Tom messaged me earlier today trying to weasel his way, weasel's the word, into a beginners competition under the guise of helping out teams that might be short of player. We don't need experienced guys like Tom beating up on the new kids around here. But no, I do appreciate the offer. Perhaps you can come back in October for the next four-man event here in Wagga rather than coming for that. If anyone around here does know beginners or someone who's keen to get into paintball that's not too far from Wagga, well, yeah, at the end of the month, I think we got 3 team spots left. Estevan just joining in at the moment as well, so thanks for joining in. Bit of news, I just posted about this on the PBHQ Facebook page not long before going live here, is that Steve and Mel Couchy have sold Hot Shots Direct, so one of the big suppliers, distributors, wholesalers, whatever you want to call them, in Australian paintball, in a similar vein to Paintball Shop. Steve and Mel have been operating for quite a while down there. They've been involved in paintball as field owners and event organisers and all of those types of things since around 1995. They sent an email out at the end of last week to say that they're officially done. They've sold the business. Hot Shots will be continuing on under new ownership, and I guess I think they said it was Troy and Belinda, who I'm not familiar with, but I'll get familiar with over time. And yeah, Steve said their plan at the moment is to go to the Maldives sometime soon. and then through Thailand and Singapore for a bit of a holiday, and then come home and just travel and kick about into retirement. So congratulations to those guys on a 28-year career in paintball. It's a long time, not just as field owners, but like I say, they've ran the NXL, which they sort of started would be around 2015, 2016, going back around then. They got the NXL up and running across a whole network of places. They used to run the Tour of Duty Tipman events back in the day, some of which were some of the biggest scenario games outside of Total War in the country. They have helped out with other events outside of the NXL, so things like Monkeys Paintball down in Victoria that used to run. Hot Shots had a big hand in that, so massive effort for those guys to be involved in the game for so long and have so much to do with so many teams. Chris Dickens, who's in the chat, saying Stephen Mellor, great, wishing them all the best. Yeah, and that's, I mean, I've been dealing with Steve since before I was even a field owner. Literally, when we started to inquire about becoming a field owner, Steve was one of the first people we contacted and went down to Geelong and met him and checked out some of the gear. He sold us our first lot of Tipman 98s for my field here, our first pallet of paint that we ever bought, a lot of the overalls, some of which we're still using to this day, some 12 years later, came from Hot Shots at that time. So, yeah, massive effort. And you've got to think, if you think of teams just about anywhere out in the country, most teams at some point would have had some association with Hot Shots, buying equipment or shooting the paint that they've supplied for events, all sorts of things. So yeah, massive effort, and congratulations to those guys, not just retiring, but retiring a little bit early too. So they've obviously done well out of their paintball venture, and like I say, to do 28 years of anything is impressive. So well done to them. And then moving on, results from the weekend, and it was only the one event over the weekend. James Richards just joining in from the Wicked Assassins as well. The Super Sevens M's was on. Spoke to a couple of people from the event. Spoke to River, who I think was in earlier. I spoke to Brent. Spoke with Mark Wybrew. The general consensus, there's a great event. Good paint. The field layout was widely. Everyone that I spoke to about the field layout, either prior to the event, as well as others, not just in the M's division, but other divisions that trained on the field, said that the field layout is incredibly fun. Paint was good, refs was good, weather was apparently good and held out, and it rained not long after the event, but as long as it's not during the event, that's a good thing. And the Mid-Coast Convicts got their first ever win, so congratulations to those guys. The Young Beamers second and Canberra Reapers third. Pretty cool for the Mid-Coast Convicts. Those guys coming out of Rapid Fire Paintball at, I think it's Old Bar or there or thereabouts up on the coast. That whole scene from, say, Coffs Harbour down to the Central Coast, like the Gosford area, that whole scene in and around there is just really thriving at the moment. Coffs Harbour are doing such great things. Teams are heading down to the Super Sevens. They have been in the past heading up to Queensland for events as well. So I really like what they're doing there. I wish that was being replicated in other parts of the country at the moment. Lachlan is joining in from PPG and says he's glad to see the Reapers still getting in and making it to events. Yeah, I totally agree. With Canberra collapsing this year, it would have been easy for a team like those guys to just fall by the wayside and not continue to compete, but getting up there to Super Sevens in the M's is good, and hopefully they can do everything that they can to bring new players into the game in Canberra and get that scene rolling again. Hopefully Canberra are running events into the future. Otherwise, it'll sort of be for teams in Canberra, they'll have to head to Sydney, which is, I think, it's about 3 hours up to Sydney, or here to Wagga, which is just a little under 3 hours. So it's not a huge trek for the guys to head out and play events, but ideally they would be doing so at home. And yeah, it's good to see them playing. I haven't heard of anything from Canberra Mafia this year. Anomaly is essentially, they teamed up with PPG here at the Wagga event recently, but otherwise those guys have sort of fallen by the wayside too. So when events in your hometown or home city no longer run, it's much more difficult to keep players invested and interested in the game. So hopefully something better there's better news in Canberra in the future, and those teams keep on coming through and attending events, not just in Canberra but elsewhere as well. So that was the results from the weekend. If anyone had anything to add to that, by all means throw it in the chat. But usually I hear things, someone will complain about referees, someone will complain about paint, someone will complain about the draw or just something, but there was nothing. The few people that I spoke to, everything was really positive this time around, and that's good to hear. Brent actually mentioned too that the standard of play across the board in the M's division was super high, and he thinks that the semi-pro division will be padded out with some of those teams currently in M's next year. And he wanted to make a mention of the young Beamers. Some of those guys, I think as young as like 13 and 14, just absolutely out there blitzing it. So the rule changes and the law changes here in New South Wales, allowing younger players to get into the game earlier, is cool to see. And by the time that some of these guys are 18 and 19 and 20, when a lot of us were just getting into the game, they'll be 3, 4, 5 years deep and absolute killers. So someone, or not someone, but a few people to look out for there with the young Beamers. The event coming up this coming weekend is the Super 7 Semi-Pro Division. This is a photo from the teams in the finals last time around. There is 8 teams entered from across New South Wales. The Lumberjacks are coming up from Victoria. The Immortal Knights are making their way up from New Zealand. And the Outlaws are coming back from Singapore. There is over $2,500 in prizes to be won. And yeah, if you want to check out the layout or the draw, it's all up online already, ready to go for this 2-day event over the weekend. I think, just smashed my microphone. Hopefully that didn't damage anyone's ears. All too bad. I think the Outlaws will be going in favourites, even though they weren't the winners last time around. I would picture them somewhere on the podium yet again. If they're bringing out a similar roster to what they had last time, that is, they're a solid team over there in Singapore. They play against teams like STK and teams throughout, like Duckside from Malaysia, fairly regularly over there, which is probably at a higher standard than the semi-pro division here. And if they bring their best roster out, I would think that those guys are a real chance of winning the event. Brad Short says that he's looking forward to it. Yeah, and as I said with the M's guys talking about the layout being really enjoyable, I think that everybody is enjoying this layout. And a fun layout just makes everything with paintball more enjoyable. I like the challenge of a layout that I don't necessarily enjoy. I still like the challenge of that. But when you get a layout that you can really sink your teeth into and enjoy, I think that's the best. Esteban saying that he played yesterday with the young Beamers. The event was awesome, had fun. The reffing was good. And they were doing a good job. Yeah, so again, awesome to hear. And you can see there's the only sort of spanner that will be thrown into the works with this weekend in the semi-pro division is with no pro division coming up this round. Some of the pro players will have found their way onto semi-pro rosters. I don't know who has landed where. I guess that will be all to be seen on the weekend. But I know there was guys like Gaddy, amongst others, putting their hand up and saying that they're keen to play in semi-pro. So some of those star pro players padding out solid semi-pro rosters could change things up. The right player on the right layout can make such a massive difference. Remains to be seen how that will work out. The comments are repeating for me. I've just seen like 4 comments twice in a row, unless you're typing them twice in a row. But I wouldn't expect that. So yeah, good luck to everyone playing in the Super 7 semi-pro division this weekend. I think it should be a great event. And Brad saying the refs got lit up yesterday. It was a great day. That doesn't seem like an enjoyable day as a ref to me, but if you say so, mate, I'm on board with whatever you say. Now, I posted this up earlier in the week from Asylum. Coming up at the beginning of next year, it will be 10 years since Asylum, my local team here in Wagga, was formed. And 10 years ago, when the team was formed, I can't remember where I got these made. I probably went to the cheapest place locally here in Wagga that could make t-shirts with this rough idea of a shirt for Asylum and had these made up. A couple of the guys still have them. I have no idea where mine is. But for the 10-year anniversary of Asylum, I will be getting these remade through Anthrax of a much higher quality. They will last much longer than some of the ones that are in very ordinary shape at the moment from back in 2014. So yeah, if you are so interested, not only will be doing this, so the 0089 is my jersey number, 00, just to make it look a bit more like an Asylum t-shirt as it would be. We are adding in this time around postcodes. So for example, here in Wagga, it will be 26500089 for me. And if anyone around the country wants to get in on this order to spread the Asylum shirts far and wide, you can. You'll just need to send through your name and size and your postcode and jersey number, and I can put all of that together and we'll get some shirts made probably towards the end of this month. And then once they're shipped out from Anthrax, they will be here. Tom Thorne says that he's keen for one. Timmy saying Gaddy and Star is a rarely used combination in a sentence. Oh, I was referring to Gaddy and some other pro stars. They're not, I know it was in the one sentence, but I certainly wasn't suggesting that Gaddy's a star. We don't want him to get a big head. Although I did catch some pretty cool footage of him when he played the Wagga event here most recently that made him certainly look like a star, if nothing else. But Asylum won that one. Check back on the records. So yeah, but if anyone wants one of those shirts, let me know. Send me a message. You can drop a comment. We'll get it all sorted for you. And Michael Namoski, who's just joining in at the moment, as a little special treat for some of the OG Asylum guys, that rather than the 0089, in using my example, it will be OG 89, and there's probably only 5 or 6 people, Michael Namoski being one of them, that will be eligible to have that OG in there. A little shout out to some of the guys who've been with me for the longest time. So that's the Asylum shirts that I had to mention. Oh, and also I have to do some giveaways down here, right there. The Anthrax deployment backpacks, which I routinely mention as one of my favorite products that Anthrax make. They have got 2 to give away in whichever color you choose. So let me just bring this up over here. So I've got all these names in the list, as you're familiar with. I'm going to randomize this list 3 times, and the people in the number 1 and 2 slots will be the winners of the prize. And I'll get in touch with them, organize the color that they're looking for, and speak with Anthrax and get that sorted. We may even get them shipped over here with those Asylum shirts if all the timing so lines up. So hopefully everything is on screen perfectly. I'll just bump that up so you can see me hover over the randomize button here and hit it for the first time. Scroll down. I'm going to bump that a little more so you can see me hit the again button. So this is the second time around. Back down. Let's make this a little neater so we see it all in one thing. This is quality viewing at the moment, I'm sure. And third and final time for the winners in the number 1 and 2 slots. Timmy Colgan in the chat at the moment, and Jamie Angus, a couple of Eskimo brothers winning some prizes. So congrats to the guys. I'll get in touch with you, or you can get in touch with me, and we'll get you sorted out for an Anthrax backpack. Yeah, once you get these, you'll be telling everybody about them. I recommend, if you weren't one of the people whose names I just called, that you go over to shopanthrax.com and you can buy one and get one sent out. Or if you want to get in on the shipping when I'm getting them sent here for the winners anyway, well, yeah, you can let me know and I can get them all shipped to me, and then I can ship them around the country as required. But congratulations to Timmy and Jamie, a couple of well-deserving and long-time supporters of PBHQ and myself. So yeah, well done. Let us know what color you're after. If you're in the chat, Timmy, if you're still there, you can drop a comment or open a new browser and head over to shopanthrax.com and pick out your favorite. They come in a bunch of colors. I'm not sure that they come in blue though for STK or the Eskimo Bros. Actually, let me see if, because I've got time tonight, let me see if I can jump over here. Shop Anthrax. Typing around my microphone. It's not going to work. I don't think it's going to work here. I'll try it while I'm doing this, and let me see. Here we go. Anthraxpaintball.com. Deployment backpacks. Let's see if I can find them. Anthrax store. Bring back up here. So if you're not familiar with the Anthrax website, it looks a little bit like this. And bags and accessories. Deployment backpack right here. And so they've only got the black ones on the website. That doesn't seem right. I've seen the purple ones on here before. Well, there you go. But that's the backpack that we're talking about. I'll speak with the guys at Anthrax and we'll get them all sorted for the winners. Let me come back to me. That was a bit of I thought they had like a navy blue that I was going to check on. But have a look. We'll get them sorted for you in the not too distant future. For Timmy and Jamie, who I'll have to send a message. I think we're up past Jamie's bedtime for tonight, and I'll just close that out of there. So I think that's just about everything for tonight. Oh, the prize list. If you still want to sign up for the last couple of months, in next month's prize, there will be 3 boxes of paint to be given away. So wherever you are next training or playing, I will call ahead to the field and I will prepay for a box of paint for the winners. For 3 separate winners at their local field or the next event they're going to be at. Then it's September, something that every team needs, a pod bag and 50 pods. Always come in handy. And then the Carbon SC Pro bottoms will be the prize at the end of October. So a couple of really good prizes coming up. And of course the major prizes, but it's too late to sign up for those. If you are so interested to sign up for the next 3 months though, there is still time. It's patreon.com/PBHQ. And then a couple of birthdays to mention here. So Ralph Singh is celebrating his birthday today in Tahiti. Well, presumably he is in Tahiti. Found this old photo. The rain lit on, the rain in the photo, the smoke out of the barrel. Thought that was a really cool photo. So they've had an event in Malaysia, I believe it was, at the time. Bert in Canberra also celebrating birthdays. Mo, Jason Gardner in New Zealand, Shannon in New Zealand, and Henry up in Queensland by way of Victoria, all celebrating birthdays. So happy birthday to all of you. And that is everything I have for today. And Michael Nowoski saying we need someone from Asylum to win the pods. I agree. In saying that, the 50 pods that I'm giving away, I bought a box of 100 pods. So I have 50 pods in my garage here at home that I'll be giving away. And I also have 50 that I will essentially be giving away to Asylum. But the rate that we lose them at, yeah, we need to win the other 52 because, man, we are just terrible at losing. We're the worst. If you want to play an event and end up with extra pods, just play an event that we're at because we, even with Pit Crew, I just don't know if we just give them away or what goes on. Or if we just lose them on the highway somewhere, but we are hopeless. Thankfully, they're not crazy expensive, but yeah, well, in saying that, they are getting more expensive, but don't want to make a habit of losing them. That's everything for tonight. Again, best of luck to everyone playing in the Super 7 Semi-Pro Division. I hope you'll all join me next week here on the show with a full wrap-up from that event. And yeah, I'll see you next Monday. Have a great week. Bye.